I firmly believe India has its own opportunity to lead the world when it comes to autonomous driving.
And we are quickly moving to a new world which will be a metaverse world, which basically means I don't need to interact with a screen. I will look for interactivity in whichever form and mode they can be.
Three crucial aspects have been taken care in this 5G technology.
Thank you so much, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this session on convergence of IoT, 5G, and AI, and how is it impacting on the new era of digital innovation. I think we all know that India is standing at the cusp of, or should I say, is now becoming a leader in the area of digital revolution, and with the technologies like Internet of Things, fifth generation telecom networks, artificial intelligence. I think we are, it's not just a technology advancement, but it's also how we are changing the entire industry and how are we stimulating the economical growth as part of the country. So today we will talk about more about convergence of these three technologies and its impact on various facets. What are the challenges? What are we looking forward to? But before that, let me just share a few statistics and facts with you in terms of where do we stand right now in this area, and our, not just our corporate but also our government has been investing a lot of time, money and effort into doing this. Let's say, for example, Bharti Airtel entered into a multi-billion-dollar deal with Ericsson to enhance its 4G and 5G coverage across the country. They will deploy the open RAN ready solutions and significantly improving the network reliability as well as the speed. Also, if you see, the chairman of Reliance Industries also announced something called a GeoBrain, which will be suite of AI design tools which just might come in future. And Reliance Industries is already working on that to bring that up to speed and enhance our India's capability in that particular area. Also, if you see at the industry and the academia collaboration, there, I don't know if you have read, Bits Pilani has just partnered with Airlink, focusing on the 5G innovation that aims to develop cutting-edge application areas in urban traffic safety and provide real-time information not just to drivers but also to the vehicle owners or the organizations or the government in terms of the real-time data access with regards to any and every vehicle that is there. On the convergence, there are a lot of sectors that I think right now are being focused, and some of the top of them have been healthcare, where remote monitoring through IoT devices and the digital AI-based or virtual consultation is already started happening. In the agriculture space, we have seen smart farming and drone-based surveys, IoT sensors being deployed for understanding the entire, the type of land, the type of crop, how it will behave, the weather patterns, everything there. Manufacturing, upskilling, digital divide. I think there's so many areas that now are being focused. So just before we start, I think I'll say that the fusion of IoT, 5G and AI heralds a new era of digital innovation where the opportunities are immense, and some of them we will be discussing today. And just to start with, I would request Ma'am Dhanalakshmi to share some insights on significance of 5G, AI and IoT, both in government and private sector that we have right now, and also if she can highlight what measures that are being taken by Government of India to promote these three technologies and their convergence as one particular product or solution to shape up India's dominance and usage in this space. Ma'am, please.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much, Mr. Good afternoon, everybody. And thank you very much, Mr. Nitin, for introducing the topic to the audience. it's indeed a great pleasure and a good opportunity for me to explain how government is using this opportunity of the convergence between IoT, 5G and AI technologies to bring a more citizen-friendly, responsible, responsive and efficient governing mechanism. First of all, the advantage of 5G technology is that three crucial aspects have been taken care in this 5G technology. Number one, the high bandwidth which enables speedy connectivity to connect with the real-time database and the IoT devices. And the number two advantage of this 5G technology is that you have very low disturbance, call drop or liability. That is a great advantage. And the third advantage is we can have a very secure communication in this process of conversion between the 5G technology, IoT and the AI. The three major aspects of high speed, high security and high quality is taken care by this 5G. As a result, this convergence between 5G technology and IoT devices provide real-time information for several of the governance procedures. We can use these technologies to bridge the digital divide between rural, high altitude, remote areas where earlier technology penetration was little difficult. Now with this 5G technology, we can provide high bandwidths, mobile connectivity and basic facilities in these difficult terrain areas like rural areas, remote areas, high altitude areas. So basically the social sector and the social aspect of the governance is strengthened by these convergence of IoT, 5G and AI. Apart from that, when we manage smart cities, traffic management is a big issue. Now with these technologies conversion, real-time traffic management by connecting the vehicles and their GPS system with the traffic signals and the users and the monitoring administration like municipal administration who monitors all this. This will become a very good source. And you know, more than the traffic management, the convergence between IoT, 5G and AI will be a great relief for maintenance of our public infrastructure like roads, all those things. I have seen a pilot study where Uber and Ola drivers have been provided with a camera and they can, wherever they travel through the length and breadth of the country, wherever they travel, whenever they detect a pothole or a maintenance issue and at a place where attention of the government or the system is required for repair or maintenance, they immediately alert. By doing this, prevention is always better than cure. So this preventive maintenance of the infrastructure of the government has helped us maintain pothole-free roads and other facilities. So in addition, in the health sector, this has given a lot of things. Now coming to the use of IoT in defense. IoT, AI and these things have helped us in having drone technology percolate into defense system so that maintenance of our borders, security of our territory, all these things have become easy and more reliable. In addition to defense, these technologies, when it comes to private sector, all these are use cases of government sector. When it comes to private sector, manufacturing system has been revolutionized by using this connectivity with IoT devices and the 5G and AI, because we can reduce the cost of manufacturing, increase the productivity level, and make innovative management techniques and innovative industrial activities can be developed, which will be more productive and efficient. In addition, in healthcare, as he said, this telemedicine system has revolutionized healthcare, because we have remote areas where our healthcare system finds it difficult to reach. In those areas with minimum infrastructure, we can develop, we have developed telemedicine. We have use cases in Jammu and Kashmir and other places where this telemedicine has penetrated and provided a safe healthcare system, which was earlier very difficult to reach those remote places. So both private and government sector has taken a lot of advantage of this developing technology, because more than that, the security which this system provides, the 5G technology provides, is more important, because we have things which need not be accessed by public or anybody else. So in defense, in navy, or in other activities, government's day-to-day activities, which we would like to protect, in which we would like to protect our confidentiality, we use this integration of IoT, 5G and AI technology, so that we are able. We do have protocols which have been announced by government, and once it is well established, we'll have better security management.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think that was really, really insightful. And I completely agree with you in terms of, government already initiating the use of a convergence of all three of them. And the example that you gave of the Ola and Uber drivers, just to add on to it, in fact, Ola and Uber drivers, for everybody's benefit, don't need to do anything. All they need to do is just switch on their back camera and let it capture whatever video it is capturing, be it potholes, be it garbage, be it illegal parking or traffic jams. It all captures that. There are AI models built at behind them, which alerts the relevant authorities on what action should be taken or can be taken. So I think that is very, very good. And as you rightly mentioned, I think the smart city has been one of the very good example of Government of India on how the technology has taken a shape, and not just the municipal commissioners, the traffic management, the infra management, the telecoms bodies, all of them have been benefit out of it. Now, just taking it forward, since we spoke about this Ola Uber drivers and IoTs being used and AI being converged, and the 5G being used as a transfer mechanism, let me just request Mr. Mohan Raju, as Jio has been the pioneer of 5G technology in the country, and I remember I've been fortunate enough to work with Jio at that time when it was launched, and we came from number 135 to number 1, the top consumer of the data in 2016-17 time frame. And since almost for I think 2 decades now, Reliance Industries across its Jio platform, across the manufacturing hubs, across the retail space, they've been using IoT extensively. And there is now a huge focus on AI as well. So if you can share just your thoughts on how the corporate sector is converging all these 3 technologies and making the best out of it, and what are some of the use cases that either you are implementing as part of Jio, or maybe you are aware that industry is moving towards.
Sure, thanks, Nitin. So we all are at an exciting juncture of time, right? We all have been witnessing, rapid evolution, I would say, of the digital realm of our lives, right? At a very breakthrough and breakneck pace, right? Now, this evolution has been fueled by various technologies like IoT and edge compute and cloud compute and 5G and AI and many more. Also, what is important for us to understand is the technologies not just stand alone, but they also have been leveraging their interdependence on each other, or the convergence onto these technologies, which is actually bringing wonderful results, right? And rather fueling innovation. Now, innovation is the key here, right? Because all these technologies ultimately have to deliver us a good quality of life. It should have an impact on our daily lives, your and my daily lives. Otherwise, it's of no good. But yes, that's where the convergence of especially these three technologies that we're talking about, IoT, 5G, and AI, have been evolving silently, and the days that are about to come will be more exciting than ever before in terms of what it means to you and me. Now, explaining in simple terms, right? IoT, right? Fundamentally, take the fundamentals of IoT. You have, a device or a sensor, as we call it as. It goes into typically either a machine in an Industry 4.0, or a car, or a fridge if it is a smart fridge, and so on. Now here the evolution of embedded technologies have been powering the devices like never before. These devices today have so much power, powered by edge compute, and also the technologies which are coming in, which can by AI technologies which can be deployed on the edge. Honestly, these devices are becoming powerful than the computers that you and me use for specialized purposes, right? Now this device has ability to collate so much massive amount of data and ability to feed it back to a central cloud or a central server. Is bringing up immense possibilities. Now this data has to be transmitted, right, to the central cloud, right? Now this data is not bits and bytes like zeros and ones. Yeah, of course the information is 0 and 1, but the kind of data that needs to be transmitted is like pictures, high definition pictures, high definition videos on real time, right? If you take the example of a vehicle, the vehicle is moving at what, 80 kilometers an hour, or maybe even fast 120 kilometers an hour. Now at this rate you have to capture the scene on the road to the last pixel. Now imagine the data rates we're talking about, right? 5G is just giving birth to some of these real life use cases. Now, of course, that's the transmission layer in an IoT, right? The device and the transmission layer. And all the data comes and sits on a central cloud, let be Azure or a Google Cloud or any other form of cloud, right? And we process this data with the power of AI technology. Honestly, in the last 1.5 years, with the onset of AI, we've been able to process data at such speeds. It's unthinkable 2 years or 3 years back. And processing means not just processing for the sake of processing, but processing is to develop meaningful applications onto real life for people like you and me, right? Now this is the span of IoT, and technologies like 5G and AI, which have been very comfortably interdependent to leverage real life outcomes, has been phenomenal. Especially with AI, the speed is just increasing. Now, what are some of the things that we will see in the future? And more so I will say as India, because I firmly believe that this is a very, very strong opportunity for India to innovate on the global stage, right? And many new things are happening out of India. We don't need to see Western world and replicate here, right? A simple examples in our daily life, right? We never imagined that you can order your onions while cooking in 5 minutes, just blink it and you have it in 5 minutes. So much extreme that I was seeing on the newspaper yesterday, a Flipkart advertisement saying get your iPhone in 10 minutes. I was having a morning tea. Yeah, I was literally saying, यार ऐसा तो Apple ने भी नहीं सोचा होगा, correct? But look, this is happening in India, friends. As I go around the world, today the world doesn't inspire me. What is happening in India is inspiring. Now, as Nitin asked, right, in industries specifically. Now, there are numerous examples, but probably I'll touch on one, especially, in the order of priority or in the order of, practical life deployments. Automotive is one, where we just discussed, a car moving at a high speed needs high precision. Now, autonomous driving, yeah, today examples exist. I don't know, some of you, I'm sure, might have experienced so-called Waymo, right? Just like we spoke about Uber and Ola. There's an autonomous car Uber It's called as Waymo. I took it once when I landed at San Francisco airport. I was super curious to try it out because I was trying it first time. I simply downloaded the app, logged in, booked a car. And the car comes on its own to the pickup spot, right? And there's nobody inside the car. So I was super curious, right? While I saw a lot of videos on YouTube, but I was curious like a child, right? What is happening? Gaadi aaya apne aap. मैं बैठा उसके अंदर. And my hotel was exactly about 27 kilometers away because I landed in San Francisco and I was going to the San Jose area, which is where my hotel was. And I was like 27 kilometers. It was super. The car made you comfortable. It was driving on its own. मैं अकेला गाड़ी में बैठा हूँ, right? And the ride was super smooth. And how this was working, the car actually was stopped at one point because there was a vehicle ahead. So typically the Waymo thinks that it's a traffic light because the car is parked. But it's been like 2 minutes, the car was not moving. So I quickly sensed that something has gone wrong and we are not moving it. I need to get off or book another one. But Waymo tells me exactly 1 minute down the line, hey, there is some problem. I'm speaking to my command center. Don't worry, I'll play some music for you, but we'll move soon. This was super. I was like, the car was making me comfortable. And the car was silently talking to the command center where it was relaying the images in front. The command center assisted that it's a wrongly parked car. Please reverse, take ahead and move on. The car exactly did that. The car could drive itself. Of course, when it was confused, it relayed back to the command center. All this was happening without any human guy. All machines. Now, isn't this wonderful? How was this happening? Internet of Things, 5G, AI. This is a fabulous example. Now, of course, this is at a very initial stage, but I firmly believe India has its own opportunity to lead the world when it comes to autonomous driving, right? Many more examples in automotive, let it be ADAS or even a simple example like all of us moving in the car from, say, Delhi to Agra. We all stop by for our chai or a samosa along the way, right? And, if you stop at a McDonald's, they keep pushing coupons which are on your email and SMS today. But when we go to the McDonald's, how many of us would pull a coupon from our mails? Hardly anyone, right? But if the coupon comes to you when you're 500 meters away from the McDonald's, will we all use it? The probability of using the coupon increases, right? Isn't that a delight than digging a coupon from an email or a SMS? Do you all agree that's a better life to have? But yes, these are some of the real life examples that will come in the sphere of automotive. The next big impact area for India, a country like India, would be healthcare, right? Where the number of doctors, one doctor per whatever the ratio, it's reducing, but yeah, it's still large. So the remote expert coverage in medical is very important. And with the onset of technologies like 4G, the penetration has started increasing, 5G is accelerating it. However, there are certain use cases that are struggling to be born. For example, remote surgery. There are hospital chains which have been willing to partner with us. They're wanting to do remote surgery, but the challenges are high. You know what? Because when the doctor or the surgeon needs to make an incision in the heart, he needs to do it at a particular time when the heart is pumping down. Now just imagine, how is this possible in a remote way? So these are use cases which are getting born in a 5G era with sophisticated surgery equipment, which is nothing but IoT, enabling the doctor to do remote surgery in a remote area, which is a critical operation. But also this gives us a lot of optimism because these use cases are just getting born in 5G. These will take life in 6G and beyond, right? So that's the kind of future that this intersection of IoT, 5G and especially AI in healthcare is doing. The third biggest is the field of education for India, where numerous schools, state-driven, central government-driven, but lack of infrastructure, right? Now here, technologies like AR and VR IoT-driven, powered by 5G, is honestly delighting kids. Now, you all might have seen, by the way, when India launched it in Bharat Mandapam here in Delhi. He was so fascinated that he was speaking to some schools live with the AR, VR. Today I'm happy to see this is one area which is personally very, very important for me. I like to spend time. I visited one of the school in Telangana, a remote area which was powered by some of these technologies, state adopted technologies. Believe me, I met a grade 2 kid, and he was super inspired. He was telling about heart that he saw in his VR glasses. I can tell you at grade 2 he knows what a heart is, more than what he should know. But that's the kind of minds that we're igniting with the power of these technologies. This wouldn't have been possible on a 4G or any other, prior eras. But again, these are just getting born. Now imagine the amount of curious minds that we will ignite. It really doesn't matter where the kid is. Our job is to give him a very good education as public and private sector. And that's where, these kind of things are coming up. But yes, these are the 3 priority sectors, I would say, priority use cases that are highly relevant to India. The list can go on, but yes, in the interest of time, I think I would hand back to Nitin. And one point that I would like to mention is, as India, for us to leverage this better than anybody else, there are a set of challenges that these technologies bring in, right? Every technology has a plus and a minus. Yeah, to these technologies, the combination of IoT and 5G and AI can actually, on the negative side, enable a drone to launch the bomb when there are maximum people. No people required. The drone can detect where the maximum density is, just go and deploy the bomb. So that means what, this technology can time itself to kill maximum people. Sad, right? But that's reality, the power of this technology. So as a country, we need to build proactively the frameworks that are required to be able to leverage the convergence of these 3 technologies, to be able to power ahead and build our own brand as India, in the sphere of technology innovation. But with that, I would like to pause. I think I'm beyond my 5 minutes, but back to you, Nitin.
Thank you so much. I completely agree that every new opportunity comes with new challenges as well. And I don't know, you sounded very excited, sharing your experience about an autonomous vehicle being driven. I would have been a shit scared to sit in that vehicle which doesn't have a driver right now. So, yes, on a serious note, yes, definitely there are a lot of challenges that every new technology brings with them. And just to discuss on that, at least I think so, and there is that is there in everybody's mind, is that the biggest challenge or the biggest threat or the biggest black hole that people think in any new technology, and especially with the kind of technologies that we are working on, is the privacy and security side of it, which I think which I think is very, very key to address on how do we take care of the privacy and security area, especially with you said 5G open doors to so much of information being moved out. The IoT devices can monitor you, anything and everything that you are doing at any given point of time, and AI can correlate that with anything. So let me invite Ms. Shweta Bajpai from Meta just to share her thoughts on this, and 2 areas that if I may request, if you can focus on is one is how to ensure that the data privacy and security is taken care, and in domestic as we comply to domestic as well as the international relations, be it our own privacy guidelines or GAP or whatever, and also how do we secure this overall ecosystem, because and I've been saying this a lot, that it's very important to de-risk technology from the technology itself. So how do we secure all this, and how do we take care of the privacy challenges? If you can share your thoughts on that.
Sure, great question first of all, and thank you for all the panelists who shared their thoughts. Ms. Dhanalakshmi spoke about smart cities, some very interesting applications. Mr. Raju spoke about Waymo and where the future might be. The question you've asked me around worries around privacy and security, what if I were to step back and say right now we are in a world that's going from 3D to metaverse, right? We were in a 2D world some time back. We were also used to looking at a screen for everything that we wanted. We are now going to a 3D world slowly, where we are now used to mobile form factor as being the primary choice. We are very used to swiping up. I'm sure you have kids or whoever has seen kids, even on the TV they do swipe up, that's a 3D world. And we are quickly moving to a new world which will be a metaverse world, which basically means I don't need to interact with the screen. I will look for interactivity in whichever form and mode they can be. However, As Nitin pointed out, the concerns around privacy and security are pretty much the same as what they were in a 2D world. So let me give you an example. What do I worry about when I think about privacy and security? Number one, if I'm doing a conversation, if I'm doing interactions, are those interactions private? Is there anyone else who's getting access to those conversations? Number two is usage. You do have access to my conversations, maybe you don't know all the detail. How are you using it? So Mr. Raju spoke about getting a McDonald's coupon 500 meters ahead. I might actually think it's an infringement of my privacy because you then know the location that I'm in, but that is also a concern on privacy. Number three, it's who can reach out to me. When I'm on any platform, when I'm interacting with any kind of media, there is a very important onus that I put on who can have access to me. And we ideally want to define that access. And it's always harder when you interact with technology because you're sending information out. And the last one is how do you control bias, especially important when it comes to AI. AI is a machine-driven answer. Machine is trained on a set of data. Let's say it's trained on data that's residing in the US. So its answers are very contextual to that population. Let's say it comes and hits India. It gives you answers that possibly are not meant for you. How do you change that, right? So assuming those are the concepts of privacy and security, in India's context, I will also add a fifth one, which is around payment protection. Payment fraud, transaction fraud is a huge issue in today's time. If you think about a lot of IoT technology, especially where speed and convenience takes over, usually payment or the last mile purchase has to be built into it. When the last mile purchase gets built, there is a very high probability you'll have imposters coming in trying to steal your data and actually making do transactions which are termed as fraudulent. So how do you navigate all of that? As Meta, I'll explain where our thinking lies. The way we see these three technologies come alive, and Mr. Raju spoke about AR, VR. In the market, we have a device called Quest 3. Quest 3 is primarily a device meant to experience AR, VR. It's a device that's on your eyes, and it allows in a gaming or a media context for you to move from a 2D reality to a 3D world. Now in that device, we actually integrate the three elements. It is Internet of Things. It can only work with very high bandwidth and speed, so 5G is a given. And it is AI powered, which means you can actually generate AI characters that you play with in a gaming world. Now the problems we face with in a device like that is, let's say you in a gaming world, what if somebody creates an AI character that is behaving disrespectfully towards me? That's an infringement of my privacy. What if the characters or the gamers actually get access to my data, which I consider as private data? And what if they get access to my credit card and make them do transactions which I never thought of doing? In order to solve for that, our answer, I think at the root of it is open source. We believe AI, at the heart of it, should be open source. If AI is controlled by Chinese walls, which means the data is actually belonging to the person who has conceptualized the AI model, you might actually think that it is building upon your data, but the centralized node for where the data is residing is still private and you will not have access to it. So we believe the future of AI is open source. Only if AI is open sourced, people can build models on it, applications on it, is the best way in which you can protect your data. The second answer we have is two-factor authentication, ideally in a VPN world, which means every time you do a transaction, it has to be protected by 2 layers of authentication. Not just the fact that I'm claiming to be who I am, but something which is a VPN protected, it allows you to go ahead and authenticate every sensitive transaction. Now that sensitive transaction can be approving a friend request, allowing a new gamer in my own world, or doing a financial transaction. And the third one is what we call as Convergence API, or what we call as server-to-server integration, which basically means that when, as a company which is producing a game, I am putting together a word, then the data that should be given to that company is only what the user decides it to do. So if you all have used the iOS interface, you will see an alert come in which says you ask app to share data. So that's an authentication that is sought from you whether you want to share your data or not. That also ensures that even if I have server to server integration, even if I have approvals from within the company to share data, I draw guardrails around what's possible versus not. But that we believe those three paths, which is being able to do work on an open source AI, being able to leverage AI which is actually built for your own use case, guarded by two-factor authentication, as many layers of approval as you can build on top, and third, actually focus on what the user wants to share rather than what the platform ideally would like the user to share. They might be key in terms of ensuring privacy and security. It will always be a very hard work. As a company, we deal with many of those questions. So for example, if I want to make healthcare better for you, I would ideally want to get your body statistics data, but I cannot share it anywhere. I cannot use it to make the device better. So how do I still make the model become better and better? At the same time, not share any data that you would ideally not want to share. It's going to be a very hard path, but we believe the three things that I spoke about might give a possible solution to the same.
Thank you so much, Shweta, on that. And I completely agree that you and your organization have been in these eye of the storm, basically, when it comes to privacy and maintaining the data standards. But that was, thank you so much for that view from the corporate side. I would request Ma'am Dhanalakshmi, if you can share your thoughts on what is Government of India doing, or what are the initiatives or steps that they are taking to ensure that data privacy and security challenges are met, and are there any new guidelines or enhancement in the current guidelines that would be happening very soon?
Thank you, Mr. Nitin. In fact, Government of India has taken a lot of steps to ensure data privacy. We have introduced an act in the Parliament, Personal Data Privacy Security Act. So these the guidelines will help us protect the data, particularly the personal data, because Aadhaar authentication. Like everybody everywhere requires an Aadhaar number to be authenticated, and we use iris data or fingerprint, which is exclusively specific to an individual for this Aadhaar authentication. So we need to have certain protocol in place to ensure that the information we get through this Aadhaar utilization at every service point where this Aadhaar card is used, that it should, the privacy of the data which we acquire during these transactions or maintain. And for the information of the public, I will always say, at any point where you give your Aadhaar for an authentication, the vendor will not have any information. The information is already secured, it is concealed, and only the information required is provided. Like your Aadhaar is connected to your PAN card, it is in turn connected to your IT filing, returns filing, and it is connected to your bank account. So all of us may have this remote doubt in our mind, because this Aadhaar is connected to all this, and if another vendor or at the airport I use my Aadhaar for a Digi-Yatra entry, will my information of the IT return I filed, the amount of financial, the financial background of me, that is the amount in my bank account, or the number of travels I make in a year, will all this be captured at some point by somebody? No. I can authenticate with evidence that your privacy is always protected. Your IT department will have only information on the information you have filed in your ITR, and your bank will have all the financial data secure. It will not share with any other third party. That fiduciary relationship is protected, so nobody gets that information. And if you use DigiYatra, nobody other than the airport authority or the GMR organization which is running the airport will have access, and they will not maintain a database. Even GMR or the DigiYatra team cannot give the information on how many international trip or national trip you have made. These are all already protected. There are standard protocols which will protect all the personal information. Government has already taken all efforts to do that. In addition, we do have, like your systems are being connected to an AI. So we have the facility of adding a chip on these systems, and these chips will be connected to the 5G or other AI sources. So these chips will identify itself. So any, like in a defense network, we have drones which are running in border area, and if some other device is trying to enter into this network, this system of having a security chip in the defense network system will always alert, look, there is an intruder which is not in my original system. So we can always be rest assured that security at every stage is protected. The telecommunication department has sanctioned 132 projects costing 552 crores to protect the to make the 5G network more versatile, more efficient and more secure. What else can you expect from a government? This is much more than the expectations. Apart from that, the government has issued certain protocols, certain cyber security instructions and measures to ensure that the officials or these people using the government network use it very safely. Number one, they are not, their information is not exposed, and number two, they are the authenticated users are only allowed to use those networks. Outsiders, when they enter into the network, the cyber security measures, firewalls or whatever, they have certain technologies by which outside networks or outside systems entry into the closed network of government, which needs to be securely preserved, is not allowed. Of course, there are certain networks like public grievance redressal mechanism network or citizen charter, where citizens are welcome to enter. Those networks will not give any alert mechanism, or they are authorized. There are networks which authorize outsiders to enter into it, and that is taken care. So in addition, we have this, protocols where slices of 5G network are allotted to various users for a particular purpose. Suppose I have allotted a slice of 5G network for a defense purpose, then healthcare officials are not allowed to enter into that slice. If I have allotted a slice of 5G network for a healthcare system, and they don't have any business to get into any other. So we have ensured at the technology level, at the network level, at the operational level, and at the user level also, that security is the prime concern and it is protected at all costs. So I would like to use this opportunity to assure our citizens that all the data which is used in your AI media or IoT media through 5G is completely safe and secure. We need not have that apprehension that if I connect my bank account with my PAN, then the IT officials will know how much money is in my account. No, they will only know how much interest you have received, which can be used for calculation of your IT. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's really reassuring to know that all the data, at least the public data, is in safe hands, and also pretty glad to hear that, out of 1.25 billion that has been allocated to the Bharat AI mission, a good $500 million are being spent on the security and safety part of it and to ensure privacy. So I think that's a great contribution, and I'm sure we will be the leaders in this while taking care of privacy and security very seriously. So moving on, sorry. So moving on to the before that, let's take a bit different step and understand what are the real life, let's say some of the use cases where all these three technologies converge together. And I'll request Udayan to share some examples of the real life use cases that you have either witnessed or implemented or you are aware of, which making the entire ecosystem better just because of convergence of all these three technologies. Udayan.
Thank you very much, Nitin. It is, if you think about these three things like IoT, 5G and AI, I find that AI is distinct from the other two in a very particular dimension. The other two, you can control them via SLAs, service level agreements, saying that, hey, I want 99.9 uptime or whatever. AI doesn't work with SLAs. And so in that sense, AI is very distinct to procure, whether it is for the government or for the private enterprise or for corporations. And that is something that we are all still struggling with, and we need to acknowledge that. Every AI algorithm is different. And how do you know what is the correct algorithm to procure? Let me give you a few use cases. Since ma'am spoke about traffic, I will give you our experience with traffic. We created a wonderful traffic algorithm which uses reinforcement learning, queuing theory, fluid mechanics, and machine vision all coming together to produce a real-time traffic control system that I believe is really world-changing. We can reduce wait times in traffic in peak rush hour by 50%. And we proved this on real-world traffic, okay? The problem that I'm talking about is how do I convince a buyer that this was actually achieved, okay? Because a buyer is going to buy some system. They have already spent 100 crores on it. Now they are not going to change the system for the next 7 years, right? And then all the technology has moved on. So here's one thing that we have done in the hope that it's a way to prove. We have created, in this specific case, we have created a portable traffic signal. A traffic signal that you can actually wheel into place and just connect, and it's an IoT device. All the data goes to the cloud over 5G. AI happens in the cloud, real-time commands come back, right? And it's real-time down to the 1 single second, which is why 5G is very useful. And we can demonstrate on on a intersection by intersection, chalk by chalk basis, which system is best, whether this system actually outperforms the previous system. And so this is a real-world use case of using all three together to solve a business problem. Let me give you another example. Ma'am also spoke about maintenance, predictive maintenance. Now, predictive maintenance has been the holy grail of all of this for a long time. IoT, telecommunications, and AI, we have been talking about it for a long time. The problem really is that AI requires data, right? Everyone's saying that we will use AI to predict failures, correct? The problem is AI requires data. To predict failures, AI will require data of failures, but engineers do not allow their systems to fail. And so there is no data of failures. And so predictive maintenance using pure machine learning techniques never works. On the other hand, there have been statisticians have thought about this problem for a long time, and they can predict failures even with zero failure data. and do it in a very advanced manner, which I won't speak about. So what we did is actually created an algorithm which merges machine learning and statistical techniques and operational optimization in a very fundamental new manner, which can then allow you to optimize both your maintenance spend as well as the cost of failures. So these are two examples where we have been, coming from the AI background. I have been doing this for 20 years. Coming from that background, how we are leveraging IoT and 5G and AI to do novel things for the industry.
Thank you so much. Just to add on to it, either the engineers don't let the systems fail, or they don't accept that they failed. So, we're engineers, right? So, that is, I think, really, really useful. And the example that you gave about a portable red light, I think that's, or a signal actually, is a true example of convergence of all of three together and coming together to solve a business problem, which actually is the ultimate aim, that we don't just have technology implemented only for the sake of it, but solve the real life business problems and make life easier and better for others than just being these stalwarts in technology. And moving forward, so you spoke about how the AI algorithms and everything work together, but another key component, or the equally important component, is the infrastructure. And how do we ensure that these IoT and 5G technologies converge together in the real life infrastructure world, and how they also utilize AI to extend to do to solve multiple business problems like preventive maintenance, as you mentioned, or faster recovery of infrastructure going down, or better planning of infrastructure. So for that, I'll request Mr. Singh to share some light. You being part of the Digital Infra Providers Association, and what do you see is the benefit that we can derive out of convergence of these three technologies, and how is the future looking on that?
Thanks, Nitin. So allow me to start with a very famous saying that behind every successful man there is a woman. So it is in the similar way, behind every innovative services there is a digital infrastructure. So if that is not there, everything fails. I'm very proud that I'm representing Digital Infrastructure Association here. And the importance of digital infrastructure cannot be overstated, as it plays a crucial role in ensuring the functionality and the resilience of essential systems and services that we all rely upon. It is now a fact of life that business or a personal life cannot rely more on data as in present world. And the reliance on the data is highly dependent upon a high uptime of digital infrastructure. When I say high uptime, the uptime which we maintain is 6 sigma, 99.99, 6 times 9. Imagine a situation, whatever digital services which we talked of our fellow panelist. My panelist was very excited to share his experience over autonomous car, e-health, e-education. Imagine what is a common element behind all these e-services is digital infrastructure. If autonomous car fails, it fails one segment. If e-health fails, it fails one segment. If e-education fails, it fails one segment. But if digital infrastructure fails, it is a total collapse. So that is the importance of digital infrastructure, which we maintain. And my fellow panelist was talking of use of AI in delivering the services. While we are advancing towards very efficient deliveries with the help of AI, which is highly relying on the constant inflow of data, which also creates burden and extra pressure on the infrastructure to remain more robust, more resilient, and that in turn necessitates the uses of AI into maintaining the infrastructure, to maintain the uptime of the infrastructure. So what actually AI is helping in maintaining the infrastructure, which Nitin was asking a question to us, is the infrastructure is not only to be supposed to be resilient, but also to be more efficient, most cost efficient, energy efficient, sustainable. In order to achieve that, AI is helping digital infrastructure to optimize the resource allocations, to optimize the infrastructure. Where the need is, it is moving the resources and the planning to that side. Say for example, I will give an example to you. Today, how many people sitting in this room? Maybe, or in this Bharat Mandapam? 1,000. Everybody is connected. Tomorrow, after a week time, how many people will be here? 0. If I constantly deploy my digital infrastructure to cater the requirement of 1,000 people, it is one of the most inefficient infrastructure. So I have to reallocate my digital infrastructure capacity as per the need of the hour, as the need of the function. That I am trying to explain the necessity and the utility of AI in effective resource deployment, planning optimization, and not limiting to only optimization, but the predictive maintenance. My fellow colleague was citing an example that frequent failures are getting difficult because engineers not allowing it to fail. Hope you said like that. So imagine a situation when AI is being introduced where the failures are further minimized, then how much difficult to write the algorithm to prevent the 6 sigma minus failures. And let me tell you a very real lifetime use case of that, in which I represented an organization for digital infrastructure for the last 2 decades. What happens when a digital connectivity fails for a second? We all know, we become completely handicapped. So the task was given to us that you have to predict the site failure. And the project name was identifying the frequently failing sites. So inputs have to be provided that we predict a day ahead or a week ahead that this site is going to fail. And unless that data is there, it is almost impossible to maintain the 99.99% uptime, or alternatively, we will be creating a high level of standby network which will be cost burden to the infrastructure, and ultimately, who will pay for this? And the customer. So by applying AI into the digital infrastructure, we are not only reducing the cost of maintaining the infrastructure, but it is also enabling the least cost telephony and the least cost digital services in the world. You must be knowing that India's cost of delivery of per gigabit of digital services is the least in the world. Not to say that AI has played a very, very vital role in that. Ma'am has said several times the data security, enhanced security, infrastructure security. No need to say it again. Always, whenever the technology advances, the threat advances. We have to evolve our infrastructure in a way that it cannot. Because let me take a step back. While we are moving towards a connected world, in past days when somebody has to hijack a telecom tower, he can hijack 1 tower, 2 tower, 3 tower. But in a connected world, he can hijack thousands of towers or millions of towers, millions of services in a click of mouse. So we have to constantly evolve our protection systems that infrastructures are not hijacked. Remember what I said earlier, if an autonomous car is hijacked, if one service is disrupted, but infrastructure is hijacked, it is a total collapse of the system. And in order to minimize the cost burden of securing the infrastructure, AI plays a very, very vital role.
Yeah.
So
Acha.
of course, so in the paucity of time, I know that it is an endless topic for me to speak throughout the day, but yes, AI is very much pertinent in data centers, in networks, in cloud computing, in digital public infrastructure, and so on. So there is probably impossible scenario is emerging out that maintaining the infrastructure with a human interface. So now the humans are being shifted to take calls on strategic things, and AI is becoming their network planning engineer. So that the collaboration with the human and the AI is able to work and deliver the efficient and the highly reliable digital infrastructure. Over to you, Nitin.
Thank you so much, Mr. Singh. I think that's pretty important, and understood that, infrastructure is the digital infrastructure, either in physical form or in virtual form, both is the backbone of whatever we do. And it's pretty important to ensure that that stays alive and ticking 24/7. And obviously, the AI has been helping do that. Moving further, I think, so we've spoken so much about what kind of technology is available, what kind of business cases are available there. But how are these services being provided to the service industry per se? Is service industry also benefiting out of this, or is it just that it is being there taken care for, let's say, manufacturing or healthcare or public infrastructure, as all of us has been speaking? So Hasit, I'd like to come to you and ask you, what are your inputs on how the convergence of these three technologies are primarily helping evolve and become better in terms of the service industry evolve and become better, and what is it that we are looking at in future when it comes to this particular space?
I think if you see, today there is nothing called non-service industry. I think world is moving towards everybody wants to become a service industry. The physical goods manufacturer want to be continuously stay in touch with consumers through defining themselves as service industry. Correct? So automobile company wants to provide car as a service. Correct? Or refrigerator and white goods companies or television company wants to be connected and want to bring services at home. Correct? So everybody wants to become a service industry. And globally, if you see, the GDP of service industry is increasing. The pie is increasing. It is not that service industry is growing. It's more about that everybody is becoming a service industry. And the question is that was always an aspiration for all the industries. But it was achieved because of the convergence of these three technologies. So IoT, AI, cloud and 5G ensured that all the product companies or physical good company could become a service company. So it's more of the aspiration, realization happened through these technologies. So that is one part, and thus citing that how it's a service industry, I think that boundary is already blurred. It's everybody's service industry. So be it so I think that is point number one. Second number, if you see that. And because I was last in this thing, so I'm just watching the audience also. I got a luxury to time.
Sorry about that.
Observe this thing. I think if you see that the most of the people wants to stay connected continuously, correct? I think the maybe average time of touching your mobile might be every 15 minutes or 30 minutes max. I think everybody wants to stay connected, and you get connectivity. So what is happening behind the scene, correct? There's an app which is continuously working, which is designed by a service company. Take an example of Meta here. People are either connected on WhatsApp or Facebook all the time. They're connected because the app is working. Somebody is behind the scene is working, ensuring the IT and networkers are working. So IT service providers are ensuring it's a always on, how they do this thing. Their infrastructure is instrumented through IoTs and emulating mechanics, and the AI is involved, and they are ensuring that IT infrastructure is up and running, correct? Then comes network, which is also service industry, telco providers, our friend Geo. So how do we ensuring that they are connected, correct? Network doesn't fail, almost doesn't fail, correct? Because this same AI, IoT, and the 5G connectivities are ensuring this network it's up, always up, correct? So thus you are able to see the Facebook and Meta and WhatsApp, everything is working all together. Okay, you go further down, that how the telcos are running and how the app is running, because somebody is powering continuously. Again, service industry, utility industry, correct? How the power industry is continuously keeping up and down, up, always up. Again, the IoT's breakdowns of network, smart grid networks are ensuring that your power is up and running. So if you see that the continuity of the services or products is possible just because these three companies, these technologies are coming together. And that is a power which we do not realize it has come in our hand. The beautiful aspect of this whole convergence is invisible to us. And no technology can be considered as powerful and pervasive if it is visible. The fact that it's invisible, we do not know it's a behind the scene IoT, we do not know behind the scene it's a 5G, we do not know behind the scene it's a 5G, correct? And that is the beauty. I think the people who are Fitbit tracker or Apple Watch, right? I think they are continuously connected. There's intelligent devices, wearables are there. So the whole definition of what is IoT is no more industrial goods. It's not a physical machines. These are the wearables, and we are talking off the line that mobile will not exist in few years, correct? Because everything will be wearable. And Meta is way ahead in the thing. They're already started thinking about that, how your specs will be the everything, correct? So all the wearables will take place, and that is the most intelligent device we will be wearing. And that will ensure that you are always connected. You stay healthy. I think indirect benefit of this thing is the health span of the human species will increase. So the power of this convergence is beyond convenience. I think it will at least increase the health span of the human being by 10 to 20%. Just staying connected because of your instrumented, your network is working, and your AI is continuously churning out the data and recommending certain things, and getting you e-commerce also done to if the prescriptions of the medicine has to happen, correct? So the whole cycle is getting close because of this technology. But at the same time, and start with the foods, correct? Food security. If you talk about that farming, correct? To see that the soil is in right quality, the growth of the plants is appropriate, nutrition within the plant is appropriate, chlorophyll content of the leaves is appropriate. All this thing is possible to manage, and you get a healthy food at home is possible because of this technology. So the food to health, to travel your cars, correct? So car as a service I was talking about, that you are continuously transmitting signals from your cars. All the EV vehicles and the high-end vehicles are continuously targeting to, it's in repair shops, correct? So repair shops are getting individual car data on real-time basis. And thus, today car manufacturers are telling that I can repair car within 1 hour. You check in and check out time will 1 hour, because all the problem data is available. AI is already recommended which all spare parts has to be assembled for them, and what is the repair service time is needed, what is the quotation, everything is ready. By the time car comes into the garage, everything is ready, correct? So those are the conveniences, continuity is, and healthier life is ahead of this thing. But at the same time, Shweta talked about another things. So while this technology has brought the physical world and digital world together, but we are moving towards meta world, which is that world is coming to you rather than you going to the world, correct? Physical world. So the digital world's quotient within your own ecosystem is increasing, and thus this will be interesting time for us to see that this technology, which will play a much more powerful role in your life. Thank you.
Thank you, Hasit. I think what you said is very apt, that we've already made the world smart. Now let's make it better, and not just smart. So so moving forward, and I think we are already on time. So last but not least, there's one more aspect that I wanted to touch upon. And Udayan, if you can, since you've been into this for long and you are a service provider for these technologies. So what is your take on the end customer in terms of, how much aware or how much educated the end customer is in terms of how these three technologies can benefit, as Mr. Singh was also saying, can actually provide a real life business solution? Because my almost 3 decades in service industry or the providing IT services is that, and no offense to anybody, but is that, most of the customers, they want to implement technology because that's the buzzword. They want to implement technology because they want to come into that quadrant that yes, we use the technology. But how to actually make use of that technology, how to derive the best or the optimum out of that technology. What is your viewpoint? How much is customer aware now, and what is the future for the implementation of this in terms of when all these three technologies converge?
That's a very appropriate question, and I would agree with you that right now the customer or any of us really does not know how to deal with these new technologies coming up. We are barely even aware that when we say AI, it is not actually one thing, it is 1,000 distinct possible algorithms. When a new algorithm comes up, like the large language models, which are the newest algorithm that we are all fond of, we start thinking that that thing is solving everything. But it never has, and it doesn't have to. And just like algorithms have kept on coming up, we were discussing this, algorithms will keep on coming up in the future as well. There will be algorithms beyond large language models as well, which do things which are cheaper and better and more accurate in different domains. And this is something that buyers have to be aware of. More importantly, buyers have to create methodologies to ingest the appropriate technology. And this is something that all of us have to learn to do, how to do that well. Today, neither the buyer side nor the seller side knows really how to deal with this. Can I give one final example?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Quickly.
So, yeah. So just, speaking about how technology goes on changing, large language models came about, right? ChatGPT, and now there are 100. Meta has a beautiful model. And, we asked, when will India have a model? Now India has its own model, so forth. We were thinking a little differently. We were thinking, what can we do that large language models do better without using large language models? And we came up with the idea that we can do database querying better than large language models can. You know why? Because when the data changes, large language models take a long time to track it because they have to be retrained, and retraining, as we all know, is millions of GPUs and a lot of cost. Now, if you can build an algorithm which is at the same time a database search algorithm as well as a linguistics algorithm, just merge these fields together, you can come up with a completely new set of beautiful algorithms which do accurate data querying based on natural languages, which even large language models cannot today. And so I think that this kind of refragmentation of what large language models are doing will happen in the future, and there will be algorithms which do what LLMs purport to do better in all kinds of verticals. And that is the future that I see, and it's something that we'll all have to keep on tracking.
That's completely agree and great. Yes, it's not just the end customer, but even the service providers at times are, take time obviously to adopt the new technologies. But I personally have seen a change in last 5 years because I still remember, and again, not in a negative manner, but people used to, or the customers used to come and ask me that I want to implement AI. And what exactly do you want to implement in AI? I want my MIS reports to come out of AI. So, but now obviously, as you said, the things are changing. We are indigenously, doing a lot of stuff. So I think we are just running out of time. So if I may request, maybe starting from Hasit, this side, and let you be the first one this time. If just 60 seconds, I think we don't have time, so just 60 seconds each to summarize in terms of what do you see as the future of convergence of all these three technologies and how India can leverage on that.
I think first part is that India is having maximum data. I think nobody can beat us on the data side, so we'll be leading the show for sure in future as a country. Second is that these technologies are really matured now. I think few more technology will come into picture, like Meta will be in the mix in this whole three technology area, and the network technology will not be limited to 5G. I think this technology has to evolve to deal with the multiple type of connectivity technology, NFC being the thing, Bluetooth being this thing, low frequency technologies, and this heterogeneity of technology will become a big challenge to enhance each of other technology, because then devices has to be that kind of enabled for this kind of technology, because today it's assumed that everything is 5G enabled, and new kind of connectivity mechanics, more efficient connectivity mechanics, because you can't go to the server every time, correct? NFCs and low field frequency will rule the things, when especially we are doing the variable to variable communications, correct? It's not necessarily you have to go somewhere else within your, and most importantly, human itself will be a device. I think the biggest change will be the human itself will be a device. I think Elon Musk already shown that certain neurochips have been designed and it's been embedded on human bodies. So I think the evolution wise, I think the connectivity technologies will see the emergence. Edge AI will be center stage rather than going to the cloud-based AI. Thirdly is that human being devices, and India will be promising stage because we will be the ruling with the data. We have the digital infrastructure in place, we have data protection policy in place, and we have scaled. We have shown to the world that we can implement anything at scale level.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Shweta, your take, quickly.
Working now? Yeah. So I think to some extent the future is already here. We already have smart rings, we have biometric watches, we're even talking about chips that can get inserted in the skin and that can help you, detect diabetes. You obviously have headsets that allow you to game, that allow you to, experience media. I think three big shifts that I see happening in the next 5 years. The convergence of IoT, 5G and AI has to move from private good to public good. I think we have a lot of use cases that are great for private good, which basically means I want to track my sleep cycle and I want to track my productivity battery. I have all the devices to do that. How can I create a community around it? How can I create better health infrastructure for a nation around it? I still don't know. Or, the way we were talking, the Oneirix example on using the mobile traffic signal, think about the amount of hoops he had to cross to get it implemented. So private good, I think we are already there. Many, many use cases, including some that Meta already has. If you've not heard about the Ray-Ban Meta sunglasses, very interesting use case, allows you to experience Internet of Things, AI, 5G in a simple sunglass, day-to-day use. But I don't know what the future would be in terms of what we can do for public good. Second, I think the question that Nitin asked, which is how do we move from giving off our data for free because it's making my life better, to a future that will actually hold data dearer and will therefore make AI work harder in order to get better insights. I think that will be very exciting for us to see. And the third would be, as Ms. Dhanalakshmi was saying, right, as governments are becoming more agile about how their data, their consumers' data, their citizens' data is used, what do they actually come up with? Europe had come up with GDPR, which is a regulation to protect data, but can they actually build an algorithm on top of that data? So I would love to see those three evolve, which is private hobby to public good, moving from data is actually everywhere to data is oil, so I need to protect it, and from private sector actually doing and pushing the boundary to governments building their own AI models to take this forward.
Great, thank you so much. Mohan, your thoughts on that, please.
Sure, Nitin.
Very quickly.
So, yes, I think, as India, obviously the convergence of these three technologies is a very opportune moment. First, as my colleague Hasit mentioned, we have the largest amount of data that you can find anywhere.
No doubt.
So everybody is looking at us and wanting to experiment on us. Now we have the data, we have the consumers, tech-savvy consumers who want to consume and adopt things. We have the complex of the business challenges. You know, Indian customer, all of us, when I say Indian customer, is you and me. We are the most demanding set of people, but we want to pay the least as well. That is leading to amount of innovation that is coming to build monetizable business models is also seeing light of the day in India, because these three technologies that we have been talking about, let me tell you, there's a big business challenge. How do we monetize IoT? How do we monetize 5G? It's not an easy problem. But what I am super excited and optimistic that it is seeing light of the day in India. Now what does this mean? This is a perfect alignment of the needful resources to become an Atmanirbhar Bharat, right? We have to leverage this opportunity to build our own products, build innovations, and build unicorns, whatnot, right? So that's the scale and magnitude of the opportunity that these three technologies are presenting, right? And of course, leading all this to economic empowerment. These technologies we have been using, we as products have been monetized, but what is it in for us? Can we empower the last citizen with the economy or a part of the revenue flowing to him? It's actually delivering the rupee to the user itself, right? Like we all use products, yeah, free products and so on, but we don't get anything back. But there lies a power to drive economic benefit to the bottom of the strata only purely by convergence of these three technologies. But yes, those are my little thoughts on this, Nitin.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. Ma'am, less than a minute, your thoughts on how this overall convergence will change the India digital scenario.
Like India is a country with 1.5 billion population, and we are the melting pot of culture. Every 100 meters, you have a different dialect, you have a different culture, you have a different religious practice, or for that matter, food habits, everything changes. So this large language model, which I forgot to mention in my first, so IIT Delhi, IIT Mumbai, we have funded a project to develop a large language model, and that was recently demonstrated. A Marathi guy in Marathi, he is speaking, he may not be able to even type or write, because we do have farmers who don't have to go to school to learn agriculture. So all our farmers are experts in their own field without going to a agriculture school or getting a formal education. So this farmer, he through his voice has asked this large language model, I want to plant grapes in my garden. Tell me what type of grapes I should do and whether it will grow well in my soil, and how much I should input seed quantity kitna hai, and how much will be my output. All
the chatbots that are being built around cats. Yes.
So you know, he only asked one question: I want to plant grapes. The chat box started asking, which region are you going to do? And you know, based on the region, it predicted the soil type, and then he said there are two varieties of grapes: the seeded variety, non-seeded variety. Which one would you like to grow? After that is decided, when he decides that, then you know the prompt comes. He might have not known in his remote dream that all this information is necessary to grow grapes in his garden. So the water, availability of water, the kind of fertilizer. Now, to make it precise, technology has already gone into deep level inside the country. Remotest part also is not untouched by technology. So this mobile, maybe they may not, the COVID is a blessing in disguise. The mobile technology which was available very conveniently in urban and rural areas, semi-urban areas, have penetrated into depth because school subjects were taught through the mobile. So every household was forced to have one device at least which is smart. So this smartness has helped them in a lot of way. There is a woman app. I don't know how many of you have an idea. This woman app will give you details of all the services the government provides for a child, for its education, for the civil supply department, from civil development, how much ration will be given, where they can secure. So all walks of life in India is now AI touched.
Definitely.
There is nothing which is not touched by AI. Given that, we do have challenges. I cannot only talk all the rosy things. Being a highly populated country and with the level of literacy our people have and with the level of infrastructure we have at remote places, we do have challenges. But these challenges are not stopping our progress in any way. Whenever we have a new challenge, the government is sportive enough to address it. We have young technocrats and intelligentsia inside the country who can always address it. And in any international avenue we speak, there is not a single country which don't look up to us as far as this digitization of banking is concerned. They never thought we will vaccinate the entire population, eligible category of population. We did it by sheer, confidence, not with all facilities.
Great and determination.
Every last level, last mile connectivity, the nurse who walked several kilometers to deliver the vaccine, the postman who took the pains to deliver the vaccine through cycles, So, by that, I would conclude that India is not isolated and the entire world is looking at India for amazingly to find out how we have digitized. The flower vendor, the vegetable vendor, and the petty vendors on the roadside who don't have a shop or even a vending machine, equipment, who sits on the roadside and sell their wares. They do have this
Paytm.
That is a technology which has revolutionized India's digital framework, and countries like Indonesia, Brazil, and other world countries look upon us. Trying to take this technology or know-how. How did you do that? Shall we able to, can you please share this technology? That's the kind of achievement that these convergence of IoT, AI, and so we are no way behind, we are far ahead, and
Completely
the entire country is touched, not a single citizen is untouched by this revolution, and things can only improve, not
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Udayan, very, very quickly.
I think that IoT, 5G and AI can come together to produce immense good, but we have to do it very carefully.
Thank you. Thank you.
I will try to make up the time. So evolving AI will raise the bar of KPIs of all the digital services being provided to us. And I don't know, I just forgot what is the full form of AI, but somebody told me it is artificial intelligence. Is it? But it is actually intelligent. So that's what I understand.
Yeah, so thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate that. I'll just like to summarize this quickly, that we had a great session here. And as I think Hasit also mentioned, and so did Shweta, that we are not just connecting devices, we are trying to connect lives. And that is what I would want to take away. And our goal should not just be to lead a world in AI or 5G or IoT, devices or technologies together. But it should also be that make sure that no citizen, no corporate, no group is left behind, as ma'am said, in digital transformation, and we can reach to every nook and corner of the country per se. And just to conclude on a very lighter note, before we adopt artificial intelligence, I'm sure we should do something about the natural stupidity. So thank you so much, everyone.
I would like to request our moderator to kindly present the mementos to our speakers. Thanking Ma'am A. Dhanalakshmi Ma'am, the Joint Secretary, Ministry of Science and Technology. Thank you very much, ma'am, for sharing with us from the government's point of view the various initiatives which are being taken towards creating these secure networks. Thanking Mr. Udayan Kanade, the CEO of Oneirix Labs. Our expression of thanks to Mr. Manoj Kumar Singh, the Director General of the Digital Infrastructure Providers Association, again, who spoke about building more sustainable and secure infrastructure. Our expression of thanks to Mr. Mohan Raju, the Vice President and the Vertical Head IoT Geo Platforms Limited. His example of autonomous vehicles, yes, exciting world. Again, something to really experience. Maybe in India we're going to be experiencing it shortly. Expression of thanks to Ms. Shweta. So there is a huge opportunity here, but opportunity to harness the potential of all these three technologies as we build a more Atmanirbhar, inclusive India. Our expressions of thanks to Mr. Hasit Trivedi, the President, Chief Digital and AI Officer, Firstsource. And may I request Charanjit to please join us in presenting the memento to our moderator. Thank you to Mr. Nitin Arora, Strategy Advisor, Leadership Coach, and an entrepreneur.